Hello, this is Rusty. Welcome to Fallacy Quiz, a game on Steam by Tim Krief. I believe he's French. And I think the price point might be a little bit high given the amount of content in it, but it's educational. So I don't mind paying a little bit over the odds for something that's educational. And of course, in our community, we're all about working out what fallacies are and making sure our arguments are valid or sound, preferably both. So let's get going, shall we? Let's do a start game. I'm going to do custom. We'll put it on extreme, which you unlock after you've done the other two. You have to unlock expert and then you have to unlock extreme. So once you have it unlocked, you should be, let's put this up to, what should we put, 3 rounds of 10 questions? Shall we go more than that? 30 questions. Let's do 4 rounds of 10 questions. I think that'll be enough to get a very good feeling for the game. Right. Ooh, ready? Yes, I'm ready. There's been 3 restaurants that I've tried on a whim, and each time I stumbled upon high quality ones. Come with me, I'll pick another one for tonight, it will be just as amazing. That's the hot hand fallacy. Hot hand fallacy means that you got a decent deal and you think that the next one, you kind of guarantee the next one's going to be a decent deal when there's no reason to believe that. We've never put diced tomatoes in guacamole, therefore we shouldn't do it now. Appeal to tradition. If you want to put a different ingredient in your guacamole, you go for it and try it. If you like it, then you've justified your choice. If you don't do it again. At a party, most people get less sleep than what's recommended. You could stay a bit longer with us tonight. That's appeal to common practice. Just because most people do it, stay up late, doesn't mean you should, especially if you have work early. You're complaining when we leave the trash can out because it attracts rats, but tell me, isn't your daughter the one who has a pet rat? That's affirming I think it's a red herring, I think. Yeah. There were 2 choices there that matched, I think, and that was the most appropriate. I'm someone who pay what I owe, no worries. I'll be able to pay you back tomorrow for sure. That's wishful thinking. If I hadn't been nice to her, she would have refused to become my girlfriend. I've been kind to her the whole year, so she will not turn me down if I ask her. Appeal to consequences, do you think? Or correlation causation? Oh, denying the antecedent. Damn it. We'll read that one again when we get to the end. If I remember. They said there was a high chance of rain for today, so if you don't take your umbrella with you, you'll end up wet. Probability. High chance doesn't mean that it will rain, and it said in the conclusion you will end up wet. They sent reports about bugs in the game, but they are neither beta testers nor quality assurance testers, so I don't care. That is a genetic fallacy. It's ignoring anyone who might be reporting genuine bugs because they're not of a particular training. I started this debate saying my problem with immigration was the financial burden on the country, and I'll admit you convinced me that the impact on finance is actually a net positive. But there are plenty of other problems with immigration, don't you know? Moving the goalposts. I've only been in one car crash in my life and it was a woman driving, so there's no question about the fact that women are worse at driving. Anecdotal evidence. One anecdote does not make the rule, does it? Or do you prefer an anecdote? Anecdotes don't become data, whatever the phrase is. Just look at who follows this guy on their social networks. Just from that I know no one should talk to them. That's guilt by association. They might be talking to them for a good reason, like bridging the divide. Look, we've been doing it this way for 2 generations. We should keep doing it this way. That is appeal to tradition. Just because you've done it for a long time the same way doesn't mean you ought to carry on doing that way. You are open to change of procedures, if that is appropriate at the time. A survey conducted among our viewers shows that Americans agree with the conclusions of our documentary. It sounds hasty, or is it biased? Biased. Our viewers. If raw materials increase in price, then the product's price must also go up. A slice of cake that used to cost $2 is now $5. The cost of those raw materials must have skyrocketed. I'm not sure. All right. Affirming the consequence. I climbed to the top of this mountain all by myself. You can do it too. It was great. The guys were really nice with me. Whoa! There's a red flag there. That's a lie. How can you be on your own if you've got guides? You have bad grades in physics, but given your private tutor's rates, you should be getting an A+. Appeal to money. Just because you pay your tutor a lot of money doesn't mean that you're getting good tuition. You might, for instance, be in London, where the rates are likely to be higher. I was at the store and I wasn't sure which pen to choose, so I took the one that was a bit more expensive to be sure to get quality. That's the same one. Appeal to money. And same reasoning. It might be branded, for instance, and you're paying for the brand name. There's unemployment in the youth because young people just don't want to work. That is motive. You're assuming that the reason they're not working is because they don't want to, when it could be simply that they can't find the position that they're qualified for. I know that guy, he's a jerk, so what he says is false. That is spite. That's a form of ad hominem. Most people believe in God, so it must be real. That is an appeal to popular belief. Or the bandwagon fallacy, if you prefer. Ready! Was that the first set already? That was quick. I keep seeing on TV people who receive aid without working, even bragging about it. Poor people are really lazy. There's a disconnect there, isn't there? Spotlight fallacy. The TV deliberately pick examples to make their story work. So you're only seeing half or even less of the story, of the situation. Hi, given everything we know now, would you say that you are a racist person following an interview after a smear campaign? Is a loaded question. There are no artificial ingredients in it, that's why it's so good. Appeal to nature. Arsenic is a natural ingredient and you wouldn't want to eat that. That would definitely be bad. In sufficient quantity, of course. This stop sign has been there since the road was built. We've never seen how people would drive without it. It could be that traffic would be smoother and there would be more accidents, thus I suggest we remove it. That is appeal to ignorance. The very fact that we don't know what would happen is a reason not to find out the hard way. Beautiful people easily find partners, but I'm not beautiful, so I'll have a hard time finding one myself. That one is reversed it. They've reversed it. I'm assuming it's a male there, aren't I? I shouldn't do that. Working out only with your body weight is better than working out with machines or accessories because it's less artificial. Appeal to nature, of course. I used to answer to all your messages in minutes. Now I can take days or weeks to answer. But you are making such a big deal out of it. I swear absolutely nothing changed in our relationship, or it may be that you are getting possessive. That's a lie, because we've seen if the frequency of messages has changed, something has changed. You heard me say we should check everyone's backpack when leaving the store, and now you're accusing me of not respecting people's privacy. But it's just a quick glance, and it's not everyone, just those who look suspicious. I think that's the Mott and Bailey rather than the moving the goalposts. It is. Retreating to a slightly easier to defend position when the original one gets challenged. You're saying people can be smart without having gone to school. So basically you're saying that people who will always succeed even without ever going to school. That sounds like a just straight up straw man. It is. Putting words in your mouth. I see what you mean. That's exactly what an idiot would say. Is an appeal to spite. An ad hominem. Subcategory. No country ever abolished real estate rental. You really don't know what could happen. The impact would be negative. Well, if nobody's ever done it, we don't know that the impact will be negative, do we? That's an assumption. But it's being stated as a fact. People who think we should sort out our trash are idiots. This again is appeal to spite. Oh, I put 4, didn't I? That's right. My friend didn't steal that. If that were the case, he would be a thief, but he's a good person. Appeal to consequences. Me not voting in this election is equivalent to not taking part in a competition. As such, I cannot be held accountable for the result. I think that's a false equivalency. If you have the connections, you'll be able to find a job. If you don't have them though, you just won't get a job. An antecedent. No. Correlation, causation, confusion. Right. This NGO does really useful work for the society. Their director must be a good person. Is that a fallacy of division? Yes. In a recent study involving 20,000 participants, we found that 95% of the people using our phones are satisfied with it, or rather them. So there's not much we could do to improve them to get more people to buy our phones at this point. It's biased again. It's because they're users of your product already. There's been a transport strike. The newspapers reported on all the people is affected, and the TV showed frustrated-looking bystanders. You can't deny that the public is against this movement. Hasty generalization or jumping to conclusions? Spotlight. Oh, of course, it's the media. Yeah. Look, they have a full building with a lobby and a receptionist like a big successful company. They must be a serious business. That is... I've been getting these wrong, haven't I? Appeal to consequences? No. False equivalency. Children don't always have a taste for vegetables, and there's no harm in not serving any to make your kids happy. A person who is taking care of their children as well as you did should be able to confirm this. That is appeal to flattery. Ooh. That takes us to the end of the game. It felt like I got more wrong, but 5's not too bad for 40 questions. Let's check the quiz questions, just go through those ones that I got wrong. So, if I hadn't been nice to her, she would have refused to become my girlfriend. I've been kind to her the whole year. There we go, there's the negation, you see. It's tricky when it does that. So we had a negation in the premise, and we negated the negation to make it affirmative, and that's what tripped me up. She would have refused is a negation. So she will not turn me down, i.e. she will not refuse me. It is a negation of that one if I ask her. That's a little bit tricky when you're negating a negation. So just doing it under a timer. Next. Destroying the exception was actually affirming the consequent. If raw materials increase in price, this was a time pressure really, then the product's price must also go up. A slice of cake that used to cost $2 is now $5. There we go. So that's the price going up, you see. Therefore, the cost of those raw materials must have skyrocketed. And there is the antecedent as the conclusion. If P then Q, the cost of the cake went up. Therefore P, therefore the ingredients must have gone up. So yeah, we can see that now with time to look at it. Denying antecedent. If you have the connections, you'll be able to find a job. If you don't have them, though, you won't get a job. And that one is identified as correlation, causation, confusion, as in the connections aren't necessarily what are landing you that job. There's been a transport strike. The newspapers reported on all the people affected. Okay, so there it clearly says it's coming from the newspapers. And the newspapers are selecting the information to make their story work. Therefore, there's bias, and it's a spotlight fallacy. Look, they have a full building with a lobby and a receptionist like a big successful company. They must be a serious business. Now this one's identified as a false equivalency. I'm not entirely sure that it is. But that's what it says, so I'm just going to have to think on it a little bit longer, aren't I? Comparing A to B, as in one business with another business. And because one business is in a fancy building like the other business, you've assumed they must both be successful. Although the second business might be renting the building, it might not own it. Or something, perhaps. Should we play one more time and see if we can get better than 35? I think so. Let's give it one more go. We might see a few more of the questions we didn't get that time as well. We probably will get repeats because the content is a little bit lacking, which is why I said the price was a little bit high. Well, I'll turn it down their plate of spinach. Eating more fruit and vegetables won't make us immortal anyway. Perfect solution fallacy, which I've always thought was the nirvana fallacy. Music's beauty isn't accessible to idiots, because to be able to appreciate music, it's necessary to be intelligent. Is that circular? Yeah. Check this out, it's labelled new recipe. It's nice that they improved their product. Now we don't know that the product has been improved just because the recipe is new, do we? Without trialling it. So that's an appeal to novelty. Just being newer doesn't make it better, necessarily. You want to end world hunger? Oh please. When do you plan on doing that? Next Tuesday? That is appeal to ridicule, making fun of them, rather than arguing against what they've proposed. You won't give this cute family-run restaurant a single star. Even if you really hated it, you could give them a better rating. Appeal to pity, trying to make them feel bad because this is a family-run business to influence what they rate it as. I was telling you that housing all the homeless people would be at the expense of taxpayers, but you convinced me that it might end up being positive for everyone. However, you didn't prove to me that it would end up being the most profitable thing to do. Let's move in the goalposts. You may think climate change is a real problem for humankind, but I'm not sure it's that important. But that's okay, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. very common thing we hear, isn't it? Which is a relativist fallacy. Doctors treat their patients and take care of them, so you don't need to doubt this doctor for your treatment. What? Is that consequences, I think? No, it's not. Destroying the exception. Right, so just because all doctors look after their patients, this one might not, and therefore the rule is wrong. This party was a total failure. People who were there must have been idiots. Again, no, that's composition, I think. It's not, it's division. Wrong way around. I have an uncle who's 83 years old and he's been smoking since he was 17, so I won't worry about it. It's anecdotal. One anecdote doesn't make data. Oh, a series of anecdotes don't make data. These spoiled brats dare to come and lecture us? That is spite, I think. It's not right to date someone of the same sex. The priest told us so. Appeal to authority, or at least assumed authority. What do you mean it's too late to turn the music up? Basically, you're saying we shouldn't have fun at all. Straw man. That's not what they said. We often make a big fuss about boat pollution, but sailboats, for example, don't consume any fuel at all. You can't get any greener than that, so let's stop criticising boats unnecessarily. That is... I want to say cherry picking. Because boats is the category and sailboats are a minority within that category. Just because they're green doesn't mean all boats are green. Because of the garbage collectors' strikes, there are more and more rats in the streets. One day, this is misleading visually enough, so I'm going to collect it quickly because it takes a long time to read that one. They're being overly dramatic about the rats in them attacking a family member. What you said sounds a lot like a far-right talking point. That is guilt by association. Just because they happen to have said the same thing doesn't mean that the person is far-right. For a survey, people were called at their landline phones during the middle of the day, asked about their unemployment situation. This year, the number of unemployed people has skyrocketed according to this study's results. Are we going with hasty or jumping to conclusions? Hasty. Bias generalisation. I didn't see where the bias was in that example. We'll have to read it again. The family is an institution that dates back to Roman times. It must be preserved as it is. Appeal to tradition. Just because it's old doesn't mean you can't change it. There might be better ways of doing things these days. Or there might be varieties of the ways you do things. You're saying we should check everyone's backpack when leaving the store, so you basically think everyone's a thief. No, not necessarily. But the fact that some are thieves warrants taking steps to make sure that we improve our security. You've just used the fallacy of your argument, so you're wrong. Aha! Fallacy. It only shows that the argument isn't valid, and the conclusion doesn't follow. These terrorists have killed over 1,000 innocents and taken hundreds of our citizens hostage. It seems reasonable to respond by bombing their city and killing tens of thousands of its citizens. Two wrongs make a right. Fallacy. There might be better choices. Trust me, it hasn't rained for 3 days, so we should prepare a picnic for tomorrow. Hot hand fallacy. To lose weight, you have to either reduce the amount you eat or space out your meals. What will you do? Cut back or spread it out? False dilemma, black and white fallacy. There might be more than one option there, besides the primary one. You've already lost 5 times in a row at that roulette. If you don't win the next run, that means you're cursed. That is the gambler's fallacy, the inverse of the hot hand fallacy. Thinking that you're due a win. Criminals usually hide their activity. This person wants to keep their conversation secret, so they must be a criminal. That is... I feel... that one. No, it's not. False equivalency. Yeah, of course, yeah. In court after an airplane crash due to a technical malfunction. Here are the facts. The suspect was the one flying the plane, and in the end, 50 people died in the crash. Jump into conclusions, I think? No. Cherry picking. A nuclear power plant can explode and kill millions. You might be in danger right here and now. Let's revert to using coal instead. That is appeal to fear. I've ordered twice and twice I've received a damaged package. I'm never ordering anything online again. That's a hasty generalisation. We'll get that one right. All the great movie critics love this movie, so it's weird that you don't like it. Well, no, it's not, is it? I think we're going to go with that one. It's not. Appeal to authority. I went with that one because it said all in it. Yes, your father was hard on you when you were young, but he's old now, you can't criticise him. Or you shouldn't. That's pity. We haven't had any that are actually valid, have we? They've all been fallacies. It's not even come up as an option, I don't think. Yeah, valid's never been up as an option. With all this horrible stuff happening that they're showing on the news, I really think you should stop going out. Spotlight. It's the news. There you go, there's the key word. It's coming from the media who sell stories that way. We'll get you to watch their channel. You never joined us for lunch. Why are you so upset with us like that? Jump into conclusions. What made you think I was upset with you at all? I might have had a regular engagement. Oh, you want to know if the car is old? Well, actually, the transmission has just been changed. That is a red herring. The transmission being changed doesn't tell us how old the car is. I'm not going to listen to what you say about the environment, knowing that you work for a multinational nuclear power company. That's a genetic fallacy. The fact that they work from it doesn't mean they don't know what they're talking about when it comes to the environment. On that conversation that you're having. I like the idea that wealthy people are fundamentally valuable to society, plus it doesn't feel fair to increase taxes for them. I don't think it's circular, but it's not. Wishful thinking. I didn't see how that was wishful thinking at all. We'll go back to it later. I claim that God exists. You can always try to prove that he doesn't though. That's a relatively easy one. If we let them build this skate park, our neighbourhood will never be the same. Think of what could happen if your children go there at night. That is, where are you? Appeal to fear. Make them feel uneasy, so they vote against it. You don't want any cake. Everybody loves chocolate though, or chocolate cake is what it actually infers. This is common practice. Oh, it's not, it's popular belief. Yes, I want to abolish the police. How will we stop criminals? Wait, I didn't say there wouldn't be some armed officials who take care of security. I'm just talking about getting rid of the police name. We should call it something like Molly's instead. That is the Mott and Bailey. It's a classic Mott and Bailey as well. This person is proposing an increase of the retirement age, while you want to keep it where it is now. I'm neutral in this matter, so let's slightly increase it to keep everybody happy. That is a fallacy of the middle ground. Oh, I went up. I got less wrong. Right. I got less right. Right, let's check the quiz questions for the ones I got wrong. Doctors treat their patients and take care of them, so you don't need to doubt this doctor for your treatment. Destroying the exception. Oh, I got hit by a wave of tiredness. Which isn't surprising because I've actually been to bed yet from night shift. Right, so obviously there are doctors who don't take care of their patients, and highlighting one of those disproves the rule. I got that the wrong way around. That was straightforward. We don't need to review that one. I just got it back to front. For a survey, people will... it's for a survey. So, people were called at their landline phones during the middle of the day, asked about their employment situation. This year, the number of unemployed people has skyrocketed according to this study's results. And where's the bias? Well, the time that you called is a major factor there, because you're going to find more unemployed people at home in the middle of the day, aren't you? It's a sloppy methodology there. And they might have done it intentionally, is the suggestion with it being biased. Criminals usually hide their activity. This person wants to keep their conversations secret. They must be a criminal. And the false equivalence there is this person doesn't have to be a criminal, do they? So just because criminals hide their activity, other people might simply be very private. Or they might work for a security agency and have signed the National Secrets Act or something like that. In court after an airplane crash due to a technical malfunction. Here are the facts. The suspect was the one flying the plane, and in the end 50 people died in the crash. I'm having difficulty seeing why that one's cherry picking, because it appears that the incident is being investigated in court, and that there is a suspect, that the suspect was flying the plane. That's a presentation of the facts of the case. And then we go to the conclusion that 50 people died, and I'm not seeing a link between those two. And we actually have been told that there wasn't one. It was a technical malfunction. So I'm not entirely sure why that's cherry picking. I can't see why it would be. Now, if we were talking about airplane safety in general and highlighted this one case as a reason to think flying wasn't safe, it says, oh, well, you see, etc. That would be cherry picking. I'm not sure why this is cherry picking the way it's presented. It doesn't seem to add up to me. I'm having trouble with that one. All the great movie critics loved the movie, so it's weird that you didn't like it. So, yeah, okay, fair enough. That's clearly trying to imply that they should have liked it because the movie critics did. And it's not arguing anything about what the critics said as a reason why it was a good movie, which would be justifiable. If it was presenting the reasons the critics gave, and not just simply saying, well, they liked it, so you should, that would be okay. But it is only saying, well, they liked it, so you should. That's exactly what it's saying, which is why this was a completely wrong choice. I like the idea that wealthy people are fundamentally valuable to society, thus it doesn't feel fair to increase taxes for them. So why is that wishful thinking? I like the idea of that. Is that it? You don't want any cake? Everybody loves chocolate cake, though. Oh, yeah, I just picked the wrong choice there, didn't I? Popular belief rather than common practice. Because it's not a common practice eating chocolate cake. In this particular instance, we're talking about what they like, not what they do. That's the bottom. Right, so that was fun. And I'll see you again. We can play this again if anybody asks me to. We can try the easier mode because it's slightly different. Easy and experts are slightly different to extreme. As I mentioned, there were no possibilities of picking valid here. And in those modes, there is an option to identify arguments that are valid. So that would be slightly different. I'll see you next time, regardless. Goodbye.